President, what would you do and what would you undo?
I had my kapihan in Malate earlier on today, where I don't know, maybe I got myself into some trouble, but we'll see.
Oh, if ever proclaimed Vice President, what would you do and what would you undo?
Well, there's, what will I undo?
Oh, ayun na, nagawa na ng may predecessor mo. So wala kang planong i-undo.
Wala namang nagawa, so what will you undo?
Undo. Pet Malu! Pet Malu!
And now we just finished off with my staff meeting, basically to set the schedule, put the things together, what are the plans are, what are the general plans. This is a staff meeting that we have every week.
Express in Chinese. Right in, sir. So, sa katabi ni parang nakaitin.
Finished a SOCMED meeting, trying to map out what we're going to do in the next couple of weeks, and then to see what the reactions are going to be from the statements that I made earlier this morning.
So, humingi kami ng copy of ballot images. Ako, pinagbayad kami 7 million.
Another 7 million.
Inobjekan naman ng kabila. Sinabi nila, we should not have those ballot images. Inobjekan nila. Pero it was granted, so we paid 7 million para sa papel, para sa toner, para sa tao, etc. etc. Nung ginagawa na, pag-process nun, the camp of Lenny Robredo, who had objected to the images, now humingi ng soft copy na hindi babayaran. And unfortunately, Justice Kaguyawa granted it. So, nasa kanyang kopya for free, I paid 7 million, hanggang ngayon, wala pa sa akin. So, itong patuloy na ganito, parang sabi ko, hindi na tama ito dahil I do not feel that we are getting justice in the tribunal thus far with these decisions of Justice Kagiwa. Mga decision, yung pag may motion galing sa kabila, walang 2, 3 araw, 5 araw, tapos na, may decision na. Ako, magdadalawang taon na, hindi pa nagsisimula yung recount. Bakit ganun? Bakit naman ganun? Hindi na yata tama ito. How can you say that it is correct for again an issue as fundamental, as basic as to the conduct of national elections at the presidential level? The questions are still up in the air, hindi pa na ipapaliwanag, hindi pa na-decide, at magdadalawang taon na nga at ganyan pa rin. Paano naman, anong mangyayari sa atin dito dahil ang tao hindi nakakasiguro kung sino ba talaga ang nanalo, kung yan ba talaga nung nakaraang halalan, ano ba talagang nangyari. Maliwanag ang plano kasi naririnig natin sa kabilang abogado, oy, Mr. Marcos should run for the Senate. Sigurado magna-number 1 yan. Ganito, ganyan. This one will run for the Senate. I'm not running for the Senate in 2019. Magpapaliwanag ako na mabuti. I am not running for senator in 2019.
And he kept his word.
Hindi ko itong protestang ito dahil tapat ang aking paniniwala na dinaya ako ng nakaraang halalan at ipapalabas ko ang tunay na bilang ng boto nang malaman ng tao kung sino ba talaga ang pinili ng taong bayan para maging vice-presidente. Bakit ako tatakbo para senador? Inanalo na ako vice-presidente. Oh, ngayon, ang trabaho ko lang ngayon, maproklama na para lumabas yung tamang resulta.
What if President Duterte drops you, whether you like it or drops you at the 12-month Senate slate ng PDP laban?
I will have to decline.
Why would you decline it?
Because I'm determined to finish this protest.
Now we wanted to clarify some of the issues on the protest, and I think we were able to do it. And of course, some of the talk to some of the journalists for the new year.
On the other side of the argument, they say that your popularity with millennials have something to do with the social media that you, Marcoses, are so active with and funding it daw allegedly.
Social media has certainly become an important factor in our everyday life. Never mind political. Everyday life, in every part of our life, in education, in commerce, in politics, in judiciary, everything. Kasama na ang social media dyan. And of course, it is incumbent upon those of us in public life to disseminate our ideas, to disseminate our opinions. And social media is for me, the great leveler. Because the one thing that social media can do, that trad media cannot, is interact. And that is the critical element that is new. Yan ang bago. That's why older politicians still cannot manage. I'm still learning. I haven't gotten a quantitative analysis on saying social media counts for X% of the votes. I think it will have to do with it will be connected to things like connectivity, to the demographics, because younger people are more active on social media. All of those things enter into
and
the mix.
Income.
But and so of course, if there is another aspect, and traditional media has not been very kind to us either.
Yeah. Mission na. The media has not been kind to them. Thank you. Fair.
Traditional media have been opposed, have been detractors of mine. Kung ano sinusulat na hindi hindi naman totoo at wala nang magandang sinabi. But yan ang kanilang political positioning. Wala tayong magagawa. Kaya nga, naging importante sa akin ang social media dahil wala akong malabas na storya na sa traditional media, sa malalaki. Wala akong malabas na storya na kahit na basta medyo advantage sa akin o maganda yung sinabi ko, mawawala na lang yan. At imbis na kuminsan, kahit maganda yung sinabi ko, papalitan para to put it in a bad light. Ewan ko, kung ma-predict ko, sasabihin nila, kasi may nagtanong sa akin, if the president invites you to join the ticket to run for the Senate, tatakbo ka ba? Sabi ko, hindi. Kasi desidido ako dito sa electoral protest ko. Ang ispinin dyan, tignan natin, ang ispinin dyan, sasabihin nila, ayoko sumama kay Dikong. Yun ang magiging spin dyan. I think that you will see that that's what's going to happen. Kasi ilalayo nila yung storya doon sa aking criticism kay Justice Kagiwa. So, yan yung anticipate. I could be wrong. Kung minsan tumatama ako, kung minsan hindi. That's something that unexpected, but it's something that I have to deal with. That's why social media has become since it's become very important on its own, but it's also become very important for me because at least ito, ang social media, ang maganda sa social media talaga, it's not edited, usually it's even live stream. So walang retoke ang mga sinasabi. Right. Of course, the most important part of it is may interaction, sumasagot ka agad ang tao.
Right.
And I find that very, very useful in the very quick gauging of the people's opinion and to see what people think of the issues of the day. So, yun ang problema ko sa traditional media. So, marami namang nabigyan naman tayo ng ibang option. May social media, may internet, all the other ways to communicate with people directly.
Kasunod dyan.
Just finished a run all along EDSA from Caloocan all the way here to Pasay, together with James Deacon, June Palafox, Brandon Vera, mga kaibigan ko, to talk about traffic. We'll be going to the premiere of a film about the Mama Sapano massacre.
Si June Palafox, kaklase ko yan sa Christ King Seminary. Si architect June Palafox.
And the SAF 44. Up to now, we do not know exactly all the circumstances surrounding what happened. Unfortunately, the cases that were filed, yung arraignment yung hindi man siniputan ni former president. So, today we spent most of the day. I started off with a lunch with Mayor Oka Malapitan of Caloocan. And then on to the UCC because I gave a talk on millennials and federalism. O sige, ano yung tanong mo?
Kamusta na po si Sandro?
That was 4 years ago. 6 years ago. Sabi ko na nga ba, hindi ako yung inaantay ninyo eh. Ay, nako. Kaya nung bumaba kami ni Mayor kanina dun sa gate, nakita ko yung mga tao.
Ay, hindi pala si Sandro. Sorry. Ano lang ako, proxy lang ako ngayon. Proxy.
Yung sa University of Caloocan, hindi yata ako inaantay. Si Sandro yata ang inaantay. Hindi naman ako eh. Kaya yung unang tanong, yung sa Q&A, ang unang tanong, nasaan si Sandro? Kumusta na siya?
Ang mga millennial ngayon, kayo na ang majority na demographic sa buong Pilipinas. Lagi ko nga sinasabi, pagka nagkaisa ang mga kabataan, pagka nagkaisa ang mga millennial, kahit na anong posisyon sa lahat ng gobyerno, mula sa barangay officials hanggang sa Pangulo, kaya ninyong ihalal. Basta sabay-sabay kayong gumalaw. Ganun kabigat, ganun kalaki, ganun karami. Ganun ang demographic ngayon ng Pilipinas. Sino sa inyo ang bumoto nung nakarang halalan? Tignan mo, first time voter kayo. Oh, sino yung hindi pa nakaboto, boboto next year? Tignan mo, ang dami nito. Kayo ang aking naaalala, sinasabi ko, paano lagi natin hinihikayat ang ating mga kabataan, makihalo kayo, sumama kayo dito sa usapan ng politika para talagang alam ninyo so that when you vote, you can make intelligent choices.
Inisip ko yung edad nila, maraming ang first time, di ba, nagpataas pa ako ng kamay, some first time voters, yung magpa-first time voter in 2019. Kung nakikita nila, bumoto sila, excited silang bumoto, nag-isip sila, nagdebate sila sa mga classmates nila kung sino dapat iboto. Tapos bumoto sila, tapos hindi naman nabilang. Sasabihin lang, bakit pa natin ginawa yun? Wala namang ganun din lang palang mangyayari. Yung sistema, kahit alam niyo yung sira, huwag kayong mag-give up. Kailangan ipaglaban ninyo dahil sayang naman ang Pilipinas, sayang naman yung mga kababayan natin. Kung hindi natin maayos yung mga problema na hinaharap natin. So I want them to be engaged. Because politics, especially the issues of federalism, for example, parang ang layo sa kanilang pang-araw-araw na buhay yun. And that's not their fault. So you have to remind them, and then isipin yung pag may 5 minutes kayo habang nagkakape kayo, pag-usapan ninyo ito. Importante ito. Dahil ito yung magiging buhay ninyo. And that's the point I was trying to make to them.
Tanong ako, am I in favor? I'm in favor in principle of the federal form of government. What I only feel is something that we have to pay very much attention to is the transition from the unitary form of government to the federal form of government.
To remind our millennials, our young people, why it's important for them to be involved in the debate, in the discussion as to what form of government we have, from the unitary to the federal. And they seemed interested, and I hope that I was able to give them some insights into the different issues surrounding it, and and at the same time pique their interest so that they are continuously involved in that debate. It was I think very useful for both the students and again for myself.
Nung ako papunta rito, nag-lunch kami ni Mayo at saka ni Kong Along at saka yung kasama natin yung mga ibang mga barangay chairman, tinatanong sa akin anong nangyari sa aking naging protesta. That protest is ongoing. Dahan-dahan, mahirap kasi hindi ako makapaniwala. It has been 2 years, and up to now, we do not know definitively what are the true results of the election. We were scheduled to start the recount today, February 8, yesterday, pati. Ngunit, na-postpone na naman. Parang ganyan na lang ang nangyari sa amin in the last 2 years.
After that, we went over to the Supreme Court because some group of Marcos supporters were there to rally because we were supposed to have started the recount yesterday, but it did not. We have been postponed again back to late March.
This is dedicated to the Pbbm bloggers na pilit na binubuwag ang unity. I want to show them kung gaano ang pinaghirap ng ating si Pbbm para maging presidente. Wawasakin lang nila. Kailangan maintindihan na ang laki ng hirap ng ating presidente. Kaya nga, sinabi niya, if he is going to be offered to run under the PDP laban as a senator, tatanggihan niya. Oh, he kept his word. He will not run in 2019. Kasi may prinsipyo po si PBBM. Pagkatapos, nung nanalo na siya, sisiraan na lang ang unity na nagpanalo sa kanya. So, let me remind them. Sabi ni Lili Ragasa, bagong Pilipinas, solid Marcos, solid unity team. Sama-sama tayong bumabangon muli. Kaya kailangan matandaan natin, ibalik natin ang kahapon. Tulad ng kanta ni Don Kenkoy. Sama-sama tayong babangon muli. Ang hirap ni Presidente BBM na maging presidente. Ang laki ng hirap niya. Tapos, bubuwagin niyo kaagad yung unity team.
Nagsimula yung plano itong ating baktikikon dito. Kahit napunta tayo rito lahat, tayo magsisimula ngayon dapat ang rito. Sa ating na ang unang schedule, sa ating plano siniswerte. Pero ito na naman tayo, na-delay na naman tayo.
Biglang gumawa si Justice Kagiwa ng bagong rules para dun sa mga revisor. Magkakaroon ng psychological test, basta binigyan ng, wala naman yun sa rules ng PET, pero siya nga in charge, so pwede niyang gawin. Nagtataka lang kami, sana ginawa na niya last year. Pwede na niyang gawin yun last year. Hindi pa naman ginawa. Ngayon pa lang na parating na tayo dun sa recount, bigla na lang nagkaroon na naman ng delay. Pero kagaya nga ng sabi ko sa doon sa mga supporter natin sa Supreme Court kahapon, ako sa kanila, stay calm. Pasensya lang. Alam naman tama yung ginagawa. Alam naman natin tama yung ginagawa natin. You know, there's a very good saying na pinapaniwalaan, the truth will out. The truth will out.
The truth will set us free. Again.
Pasensya lang tayo. At tayo ay sumusunod. Sumusunod tayo sa batas. Sumusunod tayo sa utos ng Supreme Court. At kahit yung namamahala na si Justice Kagiwa ay hindi tayo tinutulungan, marami po tayo tahimik na nasa loob ng Supreme Court na tumutulong sa atin. Sinasabi lang natin, ipagpatuloy ninyo, mag-ipagpisa na natin, magbukas na tayo ng ballot box, magbilang tayo ng balota, at titignan talaga natin kung ano ba ang tunay. Kaya, itigil na yung delay.
Simulan na! Simulan! Narikaw!
Kung ano-ano ang dinidebate, at unang-unang sa lahat ay nasa balota. Tingnan na natin ang balota.
Case that is before the Supreme Court in a pizza parlor. That's not a serious offer. tignan na lang natin ang sa nakaraang ilang labis sa magdadalawang taon. Ilang ng motion na final nila at kung ano-anong klaseng motion. Ang motion namin, lahat ng motion namin madaliin. Pero wag na natin pag-usapan yun. Bumalik tayo doon sa central question. Bakit may square yung ballot? Bakit may undervote? Bakit may boto hindi binilang? Bakit yung spoiled vote ibinilang pa rin sa kalaban? Yun ang mga ipaliwanag ninyo. Sana, o sige, tama na kayo. Mali yung pinirma. Sige na. Pero explainin ninyo ito. Hindi, that's not the central issue here. The central issue is nandaya kayo dito sa nakaraang halala. We're all very frustrated and very disappointed. And we can only the only thing we can do is to show our continuing desire that the recount begin, and that is what they were there for. And I went there just to thank them for their really overwhelming and touching support. And it really was. It's always fun to see them. They're a great bunch of people, and we owe them very much for their untiring support and expression of support for me.
I'm afraid I have to agree with that because dito sa nasa naging protesta ko, we have been studying the system for years now. Marami kaming nakita mga anomalya, marami kaming mga nakitang labag sa batas na ginawa ng COMELEC, ng Smartmatic. Kaya naman malakas ang loob ko dito sa aking protesta na ipagpatuloy. And so that, yung dahilan na yan ay hindi na masabi ng sinong politiko. Tayo ay makakatiyak na pag sinabi, pinuklama ang isang kandidato, tayo, nakakatiyak tayo, tanggap kaagad natin. And why is this so important? Elections are the very foundation of democracy.
Patuloy itong protesta na ito dahil sa mga kabataan pagka nawala ang tiwala nila sa sistema ng pamahalaan, paano naman yan? Ibig sabihin, ang mga kabataan ay iiwas na sa mga malalaking issue sa pagtutulong sa bansa. At huwag tayong titigil, ipagpatuloy natin. Unang magpapasalamat ako sa inyo. At kayo'y nandito na nagiging warrior ng demokrasya.
Alam mo, mga bata, ano yan, curious sila. They're still young, they're still learning, they're still finding out things. Yung tayo, alam na natin. But I'm always interested to know what they think. Because mundo nila ito eh. The world, since I was their age, the world has changed. Ang daming beses nang umikot ng mundo since that time when I was in school. And so, if you are going to be a leader and you want to make things better, you have to know things for what they are first. And so you ask them, ano yung buhay ninyo? Paano yung ano? I'm always very interested in what their problems are, anong mga causes nila, anong mga nagiging problema nila, ano yung gusto nilang mangyari sa Pilipinas? What do they expect from us who are supposed to be in leadership positions? What do they expect from us? That sort of thing, it's very important because, like I said yesterday, what we do today is not for us, it's for them.
Our hopes and our dreams for the future are in your hands. And you must grab that responsibility. You must own it. You really have to study. You must understand. This will affect your lives. This will affect the future of our country for the next many generations.
And that's why this kind of interaction, especially with young people, is used. And I have to admit, on a very personal, it's so much more fun than the regular. Masaya yung mga bata eh. They're cool sila eh. Relax lang sila. So it's always fun.
that slogan, yung aming sigaw noon, makialam, makialam, makialam. Kayo pa rin, mga kabataan, ang pag-asa ng Pilipinas. Maraming salamat at magandang hapon po sa inyo lahat.
Tingnan nyo ha.
When I was city administrator of Tacloban City, and but a few days after Super Typhoon Yolanda devastated our beloved city, just when the political storm that followed and aggravated the same started to brew, one man stood above all. Paraphrasing what he said then, which I can never ever forget. He said then, "Tama na yan, guys. Tigil nyo na. Tek, ayusin mo with the national government. Isipin nyo naman yung mga taong nagtutusa."
Tama mo yung
Last
message
night,
mo. Kaya
we
nakapin.
had in the Nationalista Party a dinner to welcome the representatives of the Chinese Communist Party who are here on their regular annual visit. To touch base with the different political parties here in the Philippines to discuss the developments that are going on. It is always a very useful exchange between the political actors in China and here in the Philippines. Just now, we finished a meeting with the same group, the representatives of the Chinese Communist Party, on again the developments as I see them in Philippine politics, and it was a very interesting talk because both the Philippines and China are in flux in terms of our political systems and our political structure, and a very interesting exchange of ideas and views and approaches to the same process. I think will help teach us lessons on both sides from our different experiences. It is also a little unusual and quite surprising that they had asked, aside from
Dapat yun, si Anton Lagmadayo ba yung nasa kanan ni President Marcos? Ngayon ko lang alam yan. Yung malapit na pala siya kay Anton Lagmadayo. Look at it again.
the meeting and dinner with the Nationalista Party as a political party is that they had asked to meet me individually afterwards, which is, I suppose, in their view, that I have a unique perspective on what is going on in the Philippines, and that is why I think that we had this meeting. Much was discussed, both about what are the developments on the Philippine side and the developments on the Chinese side. And I will go back after this and try to gain more information, because it is many of the things that they are doing could apply to us and make the process better, more efficient, more streamlined.
Thank you very much. Me also, as a remembrance of our discussions. This is an example of an ancient weaving tradition. Comes from my province. My province. From Ilocos Norte. From Ilocos Norte. It is about, as the crow flies, in a straight line, is about 400 kilometers.
400 kilometers.
Okay, so 400 plus kilometers.
Philippines. No? So not so far, because since there is a flight connection. There is a flight. It's a 45-minute flight. Yes. Next time you come and visit us. Yes, yes.
Nice
You
to
see,
know,
in,
Lily.
in the Philippines, everything is near. Not like China. Everything is far.
Nagkabayo na.
Last night we were invited to celebrate the 100th Independence Day of Estonia. And for a different perspective, this is the first time that I was able to convince my wife to come with me. And so we attended it. It was, of course, very nice. We have many friends in the diplomatic corps and received the invitations to go and visit them. And so it was the continuing effort to make relations between our country and all other countries strong and
Hindi pa siya pala tumatakbo. Ngayon ko lang nalaman na nagbibuild na siya ng contact sa foreign powers na for foreign nations, sa mga diplomats. Sinisimulan na niya. Kasi forward-looking talaga si President Bongbong Marcos. Baka sakaling naging presidente siya sa isip niya, makakatulong sa bansa natin ang mga taong ito. Ganyan kalalim siyang mag-isip.
advantageous to both. Singular feature there was that it is the first reception that I have attended with my wife, and so that's what made it fairly special. And I really feel no difference in terms of the frequency of invitation. It feels the same as when I was a senator, when I was governor. Ganun pa rin ang pag-imbita sa akin. Mga kaibigan ko nga naman sila. And I think that they really want to hear what my views are, especially as an independent, because I'm not actively being in partisan politics right now. So yes, how does it make me feel? I'm glad that people are, of course, still interested, and it is the greatest flattery for anyone who is in my position is to still be respected, to still be thought to be relevant, and that your views are still important, and that you have something still to contribute. And of course, that is the most important thing, to still be able to do something to help, maybe as a private citizen, in whatever capacity that you are. That's always been the aspiration. Last night, I attended the installation of my friend, former Congressman Harry Angpin, as president of the Luc Koy Foundation. It is a foundation that was created by the different family associations of the Ang family around the country. They have chapters in Davao, in Bacolod, in Iloilo, in Cebu. This has grown from family associations. This is a very traditional kind of organization for Chinese Filipinos. But it has grown into a much more important and much more involved civil organization, and they do a lot of good work around the country.
Province of Ilocos Norte. A former senator of the Republic of the Philippines. And a few months from today, the new Vice President of the Republic of the Philippines. Let us all stand up and welcome Vice President Bongbong Marcos.
I just wanted to come up and to add my congratulations to Harry for becoming the head of this very large, ostensibly family organization, but it really extends beyond just one or two families, but does service to the general public.
It is also a way of celebrating the contribution of Chinese Filipinos to the Filipino culture, to our history, certainly to the economy.
The story of Harry Ang Pin is typical of the Chinese community's continuing contribution to the everyday life of the Republic of the Philippines. Talaga naman, we can tell, talaga namang maliwanag na maliwanag. Mula nang na-recognize at na-institutionalize ang Chinese community dito sa Pilipinas, nakita naman natin na ay maraming kontribusyon sa hindi lamang sa ekonomiya. Siyempre, lagi natin na naiisip na the big taipans are Chinese Filipinos, the big businessmen and the small businessmen are Chinese Filipinos. But not only that, it is not only in the economic sector, but also in industry, but also in culture, in our history, in all the parts of our everyday life.
At kailangan natin kilalanin yun dahil napakalaking bagay at napaka-importante ang kanilang dinudulot sa ating ekonomiya, sa ating kultura, sa ating kasaysayan dito sa Pilipinas.
It is proof of the wisdom of my father when 40 years ago we are celebrating the 40th anniversary, the 40th year since he declared an amnesty for illegal nationals to become Filipino citizens. Siguro noon pa ay nakikita na niya na napakalaking asset, napaka-importanteng bahagi ng ating lipunan ang Chinese community. At kahit na nung panahon na yon ay maraming hindi nakaunawa sa kanyang ginagawa, ay nakita naman natin na tama pala. He was wise, he was correct in seeing that this community will become a very, very important part of the Philippines and will bring the Philippines forward.
That I had not seen for a very long time. So, congratulations to my friend Harry Ang Pin, and just received the news less than an hour ago that the President Duterte, has withdrawn the Philippines from the ICC. Kudos to him for standing up for the Philippines because
Ayan, hindi ko alam na pinuri niya ang pagkano ni ICC. Kadidiscuss lang natin ito. Relevant pala. Actually, this is my first time to view these videos. So marami ako nalalaman na hindi ko alam. Tignan mo ang papuri ni Presidente Bongbong Marcos din na hindi pa siya presidente. Sinusuportahan na niya ang pag-withdraw ni President Duterte sa ICC. Yung ngayon, yung mga sinasabi ay sila ay pro-BBM. Ngayon, gusto nila ang ICC ay i-prosecute si President Duterte. Nung hindi pa siya presidente, pumayag siya sa pag-withdraw ng ating bansa sa ICC. Hindi ko na maintindihan. Mas lalong tumitindi ang aking pagkatuliron sa ginagawa ng mga pro-BBM na kuno vloggers ay since 2016 pa yata o 2019 agree na siya kay Duterte, President Duterte, na i-withdraw ang Pilipinas sa ICC kasi sovereignty ang issue. Tama si Batch 1975. Sovereignty is the issue here. Kaya lalo akong nagtataka. Saan nila kinukuha yung kanilang pambatikos kay President Duterte? Bali, binabatikos nila si Pbbm. Ito, prior to his becoming president pa. Naku, ngayon ko lang nalaman ito.
Hindi naman siguro tama. Ginaganyan na lang tayo. Tinatrato tayo ng mga dayuhan na akala mo naman hindi tayo marunong dito, hindi tayo nakakaintindi, tayong inuutusan kung ano-ano pinagsasabi tungkol sa atin. Gagawin nila yung gusto nilang gawin, pero huwag nila sasabihin na kasama tayo at hindi tayo papayag na ay ganun ang trato sa atin. At saka minamata tayo nitong mga puti. So we are a mature, sovereign nation with our own ways of doing things, and that is not. Sinasabi ng iba, fake supporters daw, meron daw tinatawag na troll. Ang troll, yung binabayaran mo para labanan yung kalaban mo. Wala naman akong ganun. At siguro yung aking mga katunggali, hindi makapaniwala na meron talagang supporter dahil hindi sila nakakaramdam na ganun.
Yung tumitira talaga sa akin, well-oiled na infrastructure. Hindi siya totoong tao lahat. Konting percentage lang yung totoong tao. Isa siyang napakamahal na setup na makinarya.
But these are real people. May trabaho ang mga yan. They do not do this as a job. And it has become very, very important. Kasi alam naman natin, nakikita natin ang nagiging effect ng social media. At nagiging importante hindi lamang sa larangan ng politika, kundi pati sa negosyo, pati sa personal na buhay. All of these things have been touched by social media. Kaya hindi natin pwedeng sabihin na hindi na importante yan. Napakalaking bahagi na ng pang-araw-araw na buhay natin. It's not only unfair, it's not only untrue, but it smacks of desperation on their part. Because kailangan nilang makahanap ng paliwanag kung bakit marami pa rin sumusuporta despite the fact na wala silang ginawa kundi manira, kundi mang-insulto, kundi kami murahin, nandiyan pa rin ito. Sinasabi, fake yan, hindi totoo yan.
Yung dedepensa sa'yo, tunay na tao eh. Yung dedepensa sa'yo, wala namang bayad para dumepensa sa'yo. Yung dedepensa sa'yo, yung totoong kilala ka. Napakaliit na percentage lang yun sa infrastructure ng tumitira sa'yo.
Kung talagang ganyan ang kanyang paniniwala, pumunta kayo rito, ipapakilala ko sa inyo sila, isa-isa. At makikita ninyo, hindi to troll, hindi to fake support, kundi tunay na tao na sumusuporta sa amin. Where, of course, we spoke about the issues of the day.
Hindi pa siya marunong mag-vlog.
Ang matinding pinag-uusapan ngayon ng pag-withdraw ng Pilipinas sa ICC sa utos ni Pangulong Duterte dahil nga sa kanilang very partisan approach dito sa kanilang sinasabi na investigasyon. Nagsalita ng Pilipino, binoto si Pangulong Duterte. Tapos nung sinulong niya ang anti-drug na campaign niya, hanggang ngayon 80+ % ng approval rating niya.
So, basta sinabi ng Pilipino na maganda yan o sang-ayon kami dyan, tama na yun. Hindi na natin kailangan pakinggan yung iba. Kaya tama yung ginawa nila yung Pangulong Duterte, tinataas niya ang bibigan ng Pilipino.
ICC na naman. Dapat makinig yung mga vloggers na dito.
We talked about napahaba ang naging usapan namin tungkol sa agrikultura, which is a subject that is very close to my heart.
Dapat yung balikan natin yung ginagawa natin noon, pag magpapamil ang farmer, sinusundo yung palay dun sa kanila, dadalhin sa miller, tapos pag na-mill na, bigas na, ibabalik na yun dun sa farmer para ibenta nila sa palengke. But wala, we don't have any of that support anymore. Yung pautang.
Duterte should make you Secretary of Agriculture. Would you accept?
I would accept. Yes, of course I would accept.
We've been continuously trying to explain kung ano bang mga position ko dito sa mga iba't ibang bagay. And I'm glad that I was given the opportunity in both these instances to talk about, well, of course, the protest is always a constant subject. At mukhang interesado ang tao kung ano ba talagang magiging schedule ng recount.
I have to ask this question.
Yes, please.
I just thought of it. Are you the source of Senator Soto?
No. No, I am not. No, I am not. I think we should lay the responsibility and the accountability at the door of those who actually did this.
Comelec.
Comelec, Smartmatic, whoever. What group can do this in 2016?
You tell me.
Not me. Not Duterte.
Okay. What gives you hope that it will happen to you in a nice way?
I have a distinct advantage over my opponents. I know the truth.
Natanong kanina, sinasabi dito sa lahat ng mga nangyayari, mga issue na nilata, na binabatikos, na kinikriticize, na ganyan, bakit patuloy pa rin at anong nagbibigay buhay na patuloy pa rin ang aking ginagawa? Sabi ko, malaking advantage ko sa kanila dahil alam ko yung katotohanan. Kaya kahit anong sabihin nila, alam ko namang hindi totoo, kaya hindi ko na pinapansin. Kaya patuloy pa rin at patuloy pa rin ang aking ginagawa dahil sa aking paniniwala na tama ang tinutunguan ng aking ginagawa. At ito'y makakabuti, hindi lamang sa sarili ko, kung hindi sa ilang Pilipino at sana sa ating bansa.
What is the general feeling now? Do you get the feeling that people have started to lose interest because they feel that you cannot fight City Hall, or in this case, Comelec or the PET?
I think people are continuing to show a great deal of interest. As a matter of fact, because
In what way? In what way?
For example, since February 7, a group of supporters have been camping outside the Supreme Court. And when we told them, ma-postpone, sabi nila, hindi na bale, we'll stay here until the 19th. And they're still there until the 19th. And when we said, na-postpone na naman tayo hanggang 2nd, tama na, umuwi na kayo, kawawa naman kayo. Ayaw nila.
Kasi mula noong February 7, kung kailan dapat nagsimula ang recount, nag-vigil na sila doon sa harap ng Supreme Court. Tapos, nung sinabi namin, hindi, ma-postpone sa 19 of March. Kanila, hindi bale, basta't may iwan kami rito hanggang magsimula. Ngayon, na-postpone ulit hanggang April 2, ayaw pa rin nilang umalis. Ako nga naawa na sa kanila.
Nag-start na yung mga tao. Tapos 8 dumagsa. Halos na puno tong Taura. dumating si Sir ng 8. And then 9, di ba, na-reset ulit. Na-reschedule ulit nila yung sa recount natin. So, nag-usap-usap kami. Ano kaya kung magtuloy-tuloy na tayo? Bakit hindi natin subukang ituloy-tuloy? So yun, umpisahan namin siya ng 9, 10, 11 hanggang ngayon. 39 days kami hanggang ngayon. Nung una mahirap. Kasi unang-una, volunteer kami. Hindi kami yung typical na bayaran. Volunteer kami. So mahirap para sa amin yung unang-una food, yung tubig namin, yung palikuran namin dito. Kasi yun nga tawag sa amin dito, damay-damay na eh. Pero may kadamay kami, damay-damay. So magmula sa work, papasok ako ng 5, lalabas ako ng 3. Yung 3 o'clock, travel na ako papunta dito sa Supreme Court. Tapos, uuwi ako mga 3 o'clock naman ng madaling araw. Araw-araw yun. Araw-araw ko siyang ginagawa.
Kung dito ako nag-decide na mag-celebrate sa birthday ko kasi umaasa talaga ako na ngayon talaga ang ano ng recount.
Sa nakikita namin na lumalaban siya, yun ang nagiging motivation sa amin na kung siya nga lumalaban, tayo pa kaya na taga-suporta. So, wala kasi siya, minsan kasi pinupulot niya yung lakas niya sa mga taong lumalaban para sa kanya.
Yan ang buhay namin. That is the lifeblood of any public servant, of any person in public life. Ang ganyang klaseng suporta. At syempre, kung minsan naawa na nga ako sa kanila sa kanilang ginagawang sakripisyo, pero kasanan talaga hindi sila magsawa sa kanyang pagsuporta sa amin. At nakakataba ng puso na makita na meron tayong mga kasamahan, mga kaibigan, mga supporter na nandyan na hindi umaalis sa tabi natin hanggat matapos ang laban.
Patuloy kayong lumaban kasi hanggat nandito kami, hanggat nandyan ka, forever Marcos pa rin kami.
Lakasan niya yung loob niya para sa amin na mga supporters niya. Handa kami, lagi kami andyan nakasupport sa kanya.
Ang habang buhay, gabayan ka ng Panginoon Diyos. Tulungan mo ang sambayan ng Pilipinas. Talagang totoo yung mga sinabi ng nanay mo, ipagpatuloy mo.
Naging matatag ka, ipinaglalaban mo kung ano yung tama, hinahangad natin dito ang katotohanan. Kaya kami, sa Team BBM Pilipinas, nasa likod mo kami. Kung ano man po ang adikain nyo para sa bayan, nakasuporta kami sa'yo all the way.
Isang napakalaking pasasalamat ang aking ibibigay sa kanilang lahat. At sana naman dito sa tulong nila, sa kanilang mga panalangin sa ating mga magiging kinabukasan, ay hindi mabigo ang ating inaasahan na mangyayari na magandang resulta. But whatever happens, I still believe, yung pakiramdam ko, winner pa rin dahil nandiyan kayo. Napakapalad ng pamilya Marcos, napakapalad ko na nandyan sila. The other day, I was invited by Secretary Harry Roque to go on his show, which is one of these public service shows that he does weekly. And by coincidence, this show was shot or taped in Malacanang Palace. So he was doing another interview. So in the meantime, I was able to walk around and look what the old palace looks like now. Like the palace has always been, many of the rooms have been repurposed. It's no longer used in the same way. But then it's always been that way. The rooms always changed their functions as time went on, and according to need and according to availability. But it was it touches you in a certain spot, because this is where you spent your childhood, and the little corners all have memories too. Every little place means something, because this happened there. I fell over there. This is where I fought with my sister. This is where we made up, and that sort of thing. Opisina ito dati. Nung ginagawa yung palasyo, dito nag-opisina yung father ko. Ito, hindi ito conference hall noon. Ibang ginawa dito. It's nice to bring back those childhood memories when life was so simple and so straightforward. Amy and I would have this really drag out, screaming matches, and then eventually actual fights. We would run after each other with intent to harm. We had the classic fight na naghabulan kami ng itak. The only thing we used to really fight about was books. When one of us had a nice book, what would happen is that we say, okay, when you're finished with it, I'll have it. I want to read it. But of course, the person who's waiting cannot wait any longer. They'll steal it. So the other one will fight, and the whole household will explode. But we don't do that anymore. I remember once my mother was singing, and we had guests, and they were saying, my gosh, Madam First Lady, you're such a romantic, not like your husband. And my father was sort of taken aback and said, no, quite the contrary. If there is no romance, there is no courage. And that's the way he thought. The soft side was what motivated him to do all of these hard things. And of course, when it's work, it's the hard things, the tough things that he had to do. And that's what people see. But that derives, or the root of the passion, of the determination to do something good, comes from love. I mean, comes from dedication, comes from sense of duty and nationalism. What we hear right now, especially with the dominant voices right now who are in opposition to him, is more of a caricature of somebody that they would like for people to believe. I knew the man. He was the president, but he was also my father. And he really was my friend. Ano yan?
Play niya yung announcement.
First of all, the portrayal of him by his opposition, especially the demonization of my dad. That's just, if you knew him and you've seen the way he works and the things he does and the things that he worries about, it just doesn't have any connection to what he really was as a man.
Jay Rosanido, you have a new jacket, and welcome to the Pbbm channel family, Tatay Jackferdz blogs. Thank you.
That's why it's easy for us to just look at these detractors and say, yeah, I guess that's what you want us to believe, but that's simply not the case.
Ang cute na.
This idea or this feeling or this, shall we say, opinion I have of my father, of the man, has just been strengthened as time goes on. You'd think when you grow up, you say, well, I was a kid. Siguro kala hindi ko naintindihan what was really going on. But the more I see, the more I learn, the wiser, hopefully, I'm getting. I can see that that's really the way he was. That's really the person he was, and that he meant it. This wasn't propaganda for him. The things that he
Oh,
said were
tama ka
not.
dyan.
He meant
Hey,
it. It was really what he was trying to do.
ang cute niya. Oh, gwapo niya.
There's propaganda and there's the truth. Marami tayong kasabihan, bilog ang mundo, the pendulum will always swing back, all of these things. But I think it really derives from the fact that, you know, whereas other people will say that this is what we believe, this is what we would like to do, they haven't really backed it up. Whereas when he said, I'm going to build a nation, he did. He built the nation. He did all of these things that even it never mind the systems or the political thinking that he tried
you're right.
to espouse and to endorse and to put into our system.
So you see, the Tatay Jackferdz vlogs is totally dedicated to supporting PBBM. No other channel is like ours.
Beyond that, just the physical evidence of all the work that he did to build this country up. He has that. Nobody else does. And that's why. It serves to look at it as objectively as possible and recognize there's propaganda in all political rhetoric. I mean, that's just part of it. So we try to get beyond that and try to see what actually happened. We are still in a situation where there are very many people who were around in the time of my father's administration, and ask them, what was it like? How were you treated? What did life improve? Did it get worse? Did people care? Did they not care? I always say, don't listen to me. I'm his son. Of course I'll defend him. Of course I'll say he did the right thing. But look at the record. Look at actual. If you cannot go through all the rhetoric, all the opinion, all of the academic analyses, just look at the record in quantitative terms. What did he actually do? How did life improve? What were things how many schools did he build? How many institutions did he strengthen? All of those things. I mean, there are objective tests to the success of a government, of an administration. Use those objective tests. I encourage them. Use those objective tests on his administration, and we'll see how he does. And I think he will account for himself very, very well. The saying, the quotation keeps coming back to me. You can fool some of the people all of the time, and all of the people some of the time, but you cannot fool all of the people all of the time. And that's where we are. We know that eventually, once the dominant partisan politics has been slowly shown for what it is by President Duterte. So they no longer have the monopoly on the narrative, and we are now, everyone else is allowed to say what they truly believe, what they experience, and what they think. Since my father's time, is the first person to say, like the child in the story, the emperor has no clothes. It was my father's fervent wish that when he came to the end of his days, that he be buried in a simple soldier's ceremony. We have waited 27 years to fulfill that wish that he left us with. We thank President Rodrigo Duterte for his recognition of my father's service to the nation. Before we, especially in a big national campaign, you take surveys and you try and find out what's the, where am I strong, where am I weak, what issues are important, that sort of thing. That's the usual sort of thing. And they're saying that, if don't take such a hard line about your dad, and just stay away from your dad, and just because that immediately brings you into other territory where there's a built-in opposition. And the number was that you would easily get 30%. Then I said, I simply can't do that. I said, why? Because if I sort of denied him, it's denying me, because I'm a product of him. I just don't see how it could be done. I mean, to pretend, no, I'm not part of any of it. Of course I'm part of that. I'm his son. I'm the same name. I'm running on the same policies, on the same issues. My public life is been directed and motivated by him. So it's just not doable. I mean, what am I going to do? I'm going to run around pretending I'm somebody that I'm not? That would be the height of falsehood, and I don't want to indulge in that.
Kasi, bale, both parents are very active in politics. Do you think that is what has led you to go into this kind of life?
Oh, hindi mo maiiwasan. There is no way. The only way you can explain my having entered politics is definitely because of how my father really that he even said it in his when he was still alive, that he would say, I have committed not only myself to the work that I have done. I have not committed only my person, but my wife and my family too. And the time will come when you will find that you have no choice. Not to enter politics, but perhaps in the positions, in the kind of causes that we would champion. So, matagal na talagang alam na namin na kahit papano, yung ginawa ng aming ama will affect us for the rest of our lives, in whatever fashion. So, and it's turning out to be true, because how can something that dominant be suddenly just go away? So kahit na ngayon, ilang taon na ito, we're still feeling the effects of what my father did, and I have no doubt to the day I die, I will be feeling those effects. I try to think sometimes. I do think of this, and I say, what would my dad, if he was there looking down, what's he saying? I think he'd be laughing, honestly, because, and I sometimes, when I'm going through, when things are tough, and it's like, oh God, how do I do this? What am I going to do? I can almost hear his what? Oh, mahirap ano? Mahirap ano? Sige, kaya mo yan, pero mahirap ano? And I can almost hear him saying that. So I think that would be his attitude. He has confidence that you can do it, but he's sort of entertained that you didn't think it was going to be this hard, did you?
Mr. Marcos, we are going to play a game today.
Okay.
Very fun and very simple. I'm going to ask you, I'm going to mention certain things, names, situations, etc., and you're going to tell me the first thing comes to your mind.
Okay.
So we'll do this rapid fire, not pre-planned, completely organic. Yes?
Okay.
All right, let's do this.
Get into trouble this way.
Yeah, we might. I hope so. All right, let's start.
Failed presidency.
Rodrigo Duterte.
Leader.
Bruce Springsteen.
A true rocker in the real sense.
The late Stephen Hawking's greatest achievement.
Oh, well, I think it's relatively recognized that it was his description of the event horizon around the black hole, which is essentially the distance within which, the diameter around the black hole within which nothing escapes, including light. So that really was a true revelation in our understanding of the universe.
Juan Ponce Enrile.
A deep thinker.
the institution of marriage?
Something that we are now redefining, I think, because all this talk about divorce. But I think we need to go back to the original concept that it is a basis for forming a family.
Graceful.
I always said that when she first came as a senator, she was very impressive because she was always very well prepared and very insightful in what she's done. I think she's continued to do that.
Former President Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo.
Also, another very, very smart lady with a very good political instinct.
Jaime Marcos.
Jaime, Jaime is my ate, but beyond that, I think that people do not realize how good she is, how hard she works, and how perceptive and subtle she is in her thinking. She's really very good, and I learn many things from her all the time. Up to now, she's still my ate.
Dick Gordon.
Dick's a good friend of mine, and he unfortunately an Atenean, but never mind. I don't hold that against him. But again, he's very well experienced. He has served at very many levels of government, and that shows in the work that he does.
The tagline, #Ipasok si Dick.
Ipasok si Dick? Well, depends on how it's meant. But yeah, pasok natin si Dick.
Kiko Pangilinan.
Kiko, I'm a little perplexed by Kiko because he hasn't been consistent in his positioning and in his pronouncements, and he does not tend to keep his friends for very long.
Bongo.
I've known also Bongo since I met then Mayor Dikong Duterte. He's very, very much very close. He's not only the personal assistant of the president, but he also has become an important part of the policy-making process in government.
Risa Ontiveros.
Risa, well, we have never really agreed on many things in terms of policy, but she's, I suppose we could say that she's passionate and committed to her cause. What that cause is something that is sometimes a little hard to discern.
PNP Chief Bato.
Bato is a good policeman. He's a classic good policeman who's just there to do his duty. He, of course, came into the limelight when President Duterte became president. But since then, he has, I think, after all the commotion, he has since settled down into his groove, and he has done good work in other parts of the country, and he continues to do good work as PNP chief.
What about Lenny Robredo?
I don't know her.
Attorney Makalanta.
I know Jesse Robredo.
Yeah.
Because I was committee on local government, and he was the department of he was the secretary of the department of local government, and we did a lot of work together, and we agreed on very many things.
I heard from a lot of people it was good man.
Yeah, he because he was a mayor, so he understood the issues of local government very well from that perspective, which is the really the best way to understand what local government issues are. So yeah, him I knew, but I've never actually had more than 2 words than maybe with his wife.
Yeah. Attorney Makalantado.
Si Romy Mac. Actually, I've known Romy Mac for a very long time, and yes, he's very much the media personality, and he revels in that, and he does it. He does a good job at it.
Alan Peter Cayetano.
Alan is obviously very ambitious. I don't know that I agree with his strategies of burning bridges, which is something that I've seen him do. But I suppose that he has decided that that's the best way for him to operate.
The war on drugs.
War on drugs is clearly necessary. And it is clearly necessary because once it began, not only were the Filipino public surprised about how pervasive and how deep and how wide the influence.
Oh, yan ang salita na si Si Presidente Bongbong Marcos, nung hindi pa siya presidente, he approved of the war on drugs. Anong sinasabi ng mga, hindi, ewan ko lang. Kaya importante, mapanood natin ang nakaraan at sinasabi ng presidente natin para malaman natin na nasa puso niya. Hindi yata alam itong ng mga ibang vloggers yung evolution ni PBM into PBBM. He has been very consistent tungkol sa ICC, sa war on drugs. Sa mga plano niya, sinabi pa nga niya na if he was offered that position of Secretary of Agriculture, tatanggapin niya. He is not going to run for Senator. Tinupad niya in 2019. He'd rather sit it out and continue with his protest. Lahat dito dapat nating malaman ang history po. Those who do not know the history are bound to commit it. That's why I embark on the project na let us see what President Bongbong Marcos then, when he was not yet the president. Ngayon marami na ako nalalaman na he was in favor of President Duterte's withdrawal from ICC. Hindi lang dahil si presidente siya. Kasi sabi nga niya, sovereignty, we have a functioning justice system, hindi tayo pwedeng diktahanan yung ng mga banyaga. He kept that. Yun ang sinasabi ko rin, di ba? Yung diskusyon natin kanina. Pagdating sa, ay, Diyos ko.
And so the drug lords and the drug syndicates were in every aspect of society, in our economy, in our politics, everything. Not only were we surprised, but the president was surprised. He knew it was a problem, but didn't realize it was this big. And that is why they have had to expand it and expand it and expand it. And it is unfortunate that those who do not live in the Philippines do not understand how it has affected and destroyed millions of lives.
Favorite sneaker?
Kita mo, explanation nyo sa war on drugs? Ay, naku.
Right.
My favorite is that's a tough one. Huh? I don't know. What the best pair of sneakers I have are still Puma.
Puma. Okay. Favorite genre of music?
Oh, don't do this to me. That's tough. If I'm left alone, I listen to jazz.
Because you play the sax, don't you?
Well, there's that. Yeah, but any good music is nice to listen to. But if you're like in a setting, for example, rock and roll is always welcome. I mean, rock's always welcome. Classical music, I love listening to classical music, and you can see, it's fascinating to see how some of the chords of Johann Sebastian Bach are coming out with Wynton Marsalis's music.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's some deep. The guy Bach was just amazing. I used to be a Mozart fan.
Yeah.
But I sort of now shifting slowly to Bach when it comes to classical music. Jazz, who's Coltrane. Although Miles, do you know that Miles played with Coltrane when he was 16 years old?
No way.
I know.
That's a phenom of a talent.
Oh, man, it's crazy.
Favorite food?
Oh gosh, Pinoy, gotta be.
What exactly?
Oh, it's just the basic stuff. The basic stuff that everybody eats. I guess it's our usual adobo, sinigang, nilaga, and then of course there are the delicacies in Ilocos, the pinakbet, and dare I say it, the bagnet and dinengding. Those are foods that essentially I can't live without.
Right.
If I'm abroad and I'm not getting it regularly, that's how I learned how to cook. Because I had to have it, and so I learned how to make it when I was in England. And since then, it's never left my table.
Favorite film? I know you're a kind of a film buff. So
Kind of, yeah. 3?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Possibly the favorite film of all time is Apocalypse Now.
Oh, good choice.
Good choice. That's something. And then something Scorsese. You know what what I also like that nobody talks about? Another Coppola film. I'm a big fan of Coppola. The Conversation.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it.
Gene Hackman. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Watch it. It's really, really good. And Scorsese, we'll go by director. Scorsese, everything is done like Raging Bull, Mean Streets. Man, come on.
I haven't seen a single Scorsese that I haven't.
Oh, you're crazy. Watch Raging Bull. Watch Mean Streets.
I don't think it's Raging Bull would be the best one, but like.
No, start with Mean Streets.
Yeah, Mean Streets. You seen Wolf of Wall Street?
Yeah. I like.
So great too.
Well, at that time I was there. I saw this stuff happening.
Yeah.
I was in New York. I was in the States at the time, and actually you could see these crazy trader types.
Oh man. Favorite scientific theory?
It has to be the general theory of relativity. I mean that just changed everything. Just changed everything. Because it took, we were in Newtonian physics for the longest time, and
Dami niyang alam.
that was there's another genius, and he invented calculus, Newton, and from that he was able to calculate all of these physical phenomena. But the general theory of relativity took our understanding from what we experience on Earth to what explains the universe, and the idea of time-space, for example, is just changed everything.
What's the number of government officials that are genuine?
I would say, I would turn it around. How few are left that are not?
Yeah, correct. But like, what's the percentage? 99%?
Yeah, I would, unfortunately, you become a bit cynical because you see things. Well, you go along to get along and things like that, and nothing will happen. I won't get promoted unless I go along, and so that promotes this kind of cynicism. That is the only way to succeed. And it becomes the actual culture of that government. So that's why I think that up to now it just cannot be fake.
What do you think the best way to help the poor is?
Educate them.
Favorite international athlete?
Do race car drivers?
Yes, absolutely.
My ultimate here's Ayrton Senna.
Okay.
I mean, I watched him drive, and he was doing things that we could not explain.
Best Filipino vice president of all time.
The trouble with that, comparing vice presidents tend to be waiting, at least before the 87 Constitution, they're very much waiting in the wings and not really, only they do ceremonial things. So it's very hard to judge a person by that.
But we all know who the worst one is, so let me move on. Best president of all time. Filipino president of all time.
I may be biased, but a certain fellow from Batak by the name of Ferdinand Marcos.
And I'm very happy. Ako ay nagpapasalamat sa pagkumbida sa atin ng ating gobernador at ang ating city mayor na makiisa sa inyo dito sa inyong Saulog Fiesta. Ay, nakikita ko ito, nakapunta na ako sa karamihan ng mga fiesta, and this is certainly already world class.
The closure of Boracay is something that I think is recognized that it is necessary because of all the patong-patong na ang mga naging problema sa Boracay. Kailangan talagang tigil na muna para maayos yan. Ay alam ko yung mga previous administration sumubok talaga na ayusin yan, pero mahirap talaga gawin. It took the order of President Dicong na maayos na yung mga issue tungkol sa easement, tungkol sa lupa, tungkol sa infrastructure, lalong-lalo na yung nabanggit pa nga niya, yung waste management dun sa Boracay. Anybody who...
He's singing, kita mo si BBM, he's singing praises sa kay President Digong. These things, hindi ko alam na siya pala nagpaayos ng Boracay. Puro kasamaan na ng ni President Duterte ang pinapalabas nila. Marami pa lang. Ginawa si
Boracay. Over the years, maramdaman mo rin talaga na meron talagang problema. Nakakaawa lang talaga siyempre yung mga mawawalan ng trabaho ng 6 na buwan. I just hope that the government has a plan na at least meron silang kahit na kaunting mahanap buhay pagkahabang nandyan sila. Ang ano ko lang is 6 months sa dami ng problema, saka the complication of the problem is that is really quite a hard problem to fix. I hope they can do it in 6 months, but 6 months seems a little short. Which brings me to my visit here today to Bohol, because sila ang magiging beneficiary ng pagsara ng Boracay.
Maganda rin, no?
We were here for the oath-taking of the Nacionalista Party, which we conducted this evening. Marami sa mga local officials naghahanda para sa 2019 election. So we inducted the members into the party. I administered the oath of affiliation. There were 35 officials who joined, and these are high-level officials. Because as I said, I think there's board members, there's mga mayor, and mga konsehal. We started off this morning. I had breakfast with some of our organizers here, yung political organizers na tumulong sa atin nung last election. Ay nandiyan pa. At so nag-breakfast kami, nagkwentuhan lang kami kung ano mga issue rito. After which, I went to see the bishop, Bishop Uy, who is used to be the parish priest also. So talagang tiga rito siya, and you can see that he's very much a man of his people and of his parishioners.
Yeah, the sisters are here. They work here. So we're also happy to see you. Thank you. Thank you. Gusto nga magpa-selfie sa'yo mamaya.
Hindi pa yata ako nakakita ng mother nag-selfie.
First time.
Lahat na ng tao nakita ko nag-selfie, pero madre hindi.
Sister na. Ready na mo dyan, ha?
May mga Madre Plank supporters si BBM. Okay. This will be the last video. And I will continue
with our other supporters, with the representatives from the different sectors. May representative ng IBP, may representative ng hotel and resorts industry, may representative sa political group. Nagtayo yung ating yung mga leader na ka-breakfast ko, ay may nagdala ng kanilang mga kasamahan at nagbuo sila ng organization MLM, Marcos Loyalist Movement. So pumunta kami, akala ko nung nasa programa, akala ko we will be maybe 1,000 people na nagkakape. Pagpasok namin, yung buong gym, punong-puno ng tao. Nagulat ako, but it was nakakatuwa naman at very enthusiastic sila.
Ang politiko, hindi madalas mangyari na nauubusan na masabi, pero parang I am speechless dahil hindi ko akalain na ito, kainit at ganito, katindi ang magiging salud dito sa Bohol, dito sa Pagkilaran, at dito sa grupo ng MLM.
It was good to see na yun na naman, yung lagi kong sinasabi, yung mga supporter namin talagang hindi ko na alam kung paano ipakita ang aming pasasalamat sa kanila. Talagang hindi kami kinakalimutan, hindi kami iniiwanan. And I siguro talagang we can say we are blessed to have those people behind us. Without them, palagay ko, baka mahirap na masyado yung aming ginagawa. Pero masaya, pati yung mga matatanda, marunong na mag-selfie. Pati yung ilaw, alam na nila kung saan haharap.
Natutuwa ako.
Then pumunta na kami to watch the fiesta, yung street dancing, yung sa ulog fiesta ng Tagbilaran, which I have to say is impressive kasi 5 years pa lang. Pero I think they will give the other festivals, the other fiestas, give them a run for their money. Kasi talagang the Mayor Baba has been very supportive, and also the Governor Echato has been very supportive. Bohol has always been a tourist destination. So we were exchanging notes with the governor and the mayor kung paano yung development ng tourism, and they seem to have the situation well in hand. A very good day that we had today. I'm very happy of this trip. Some of our companions were saying that the schedule was very tight. Ika ako sa kanila, malapa yan. Pagka nasubukan ninyo yung eleksyon, yung kampanya na talagang bakbakan.
Right, that's right.
Magpapasala, parang nagpahinga ka itong na ito. But we did many things. It's good to see that na marami nagawa just in one day. Na kaya talagang gawin in one day. Basta't
Paano? That is the last video po. So, abangan ng part 2 bukas, no? I will come siguro early in the morning, mga 7 o'clock California time, part 2 po. Importante sa akin ito kasi dito natin makikita kung ano ang mga pananaw, kung ano ang nararamdaman ni Presidente Marcos nung hindi pa siya presidente. Marami ako nalaman na umayaw siya na tumakbo sa 2019. Na pag in-offer siya na Secretary of Agriculture, yan ang kamalian ni President Duterte siguro. Hindi na-point Bongbong Marcos na Department of Agriculture Secretary, di sana na nagkaroon na ng solusyon ang ating problema sa pagkain. Nakita natin na ang sinusuportahan niya ang pag-withdraw ni President Duterte sa ICC. Nakita natin na siya ay sumusuporta rin sa war on drugs because inexplain niya. Talamak na ang problema ng ating bansa tungkol dahil sa droga. So marami pa pong malalaman tayo. Okay. That's it. So, bukas na po ulit 7 o'clock California time in the morning, 10 o'clock in the evening yan po sa Pilipinas. Aralin natin balikan natin ang nakaraan. Tulad ni sabi ni Don Kenka, naaalala mo pa ba? Sama-sama tayong babangon muli. Kaya, thank you for revisiting the blogs of our beloved President Bongbong Marcos. Bakit walang nakaisip ng ganito? Always tayo ang nanguna in thinking of ways to inform the people of what President Bongbong Marcos was and is and will be in the future. So, mag-enda po ako. Salamat sa inyong pagtangkilik. Remember that this is the Tatay Jackferdz vlogs is solely dedicated sa well-being of our beloved Pbbm. Wala nang tayong concern sa mga issues, kundi PBBM lang ang ating concentration. So, ewan ko. Okay. Thank you, mga kapatid. I am now going to end my broadcast. Okay? Thank you ulit. Thank you sa inyong lahat. Lalo na yung mga members ko. Sana yung mga iba mag-member din. That's what I dream. Yung mga iba mag-member din. Okay. Salamat.